Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to kick off the Tinker Day on this S70. I need to kick it off by replacing the heater core junction, and then I'm going to replace power steering rack, inner tie rod and bellows, and then I'm going to go live and drop this engine in. I'm going to try to use a set of earbuds that will hopefully help you hear me better when I talk, and try to get this engine in as quick as possible so I can get the neighbor back his engine cherry picker when he returns home from work today, and then tie up the loose ends on this car, get this car running back on the road, and then do a couple things on Lemonade, whatever I can get done. Clean up this mess I have in Gilbert's garage. Gilbert is a very gracious host. He doesn't let the small stuff affect him. I kind of think we're very similar in the way we look at our relationships and how we're both givers. It's kind of a embedded thing we have in our life, and we don't let small stuff bother us. You know, I'm not a person that will gross you out as a guest. I try to be very respectful and do my best not to cause any deterioration of the place that you graciously let me occupy. And I'm gonna try to clean some of this up today, get this stuff to where it's not gonna be a mess. He's allowing me to store a few things here while I travel to California. I have a couple of doctor appointments in Cincinnati. I thought I was going to be past Albuquerque by now, but we know that I've had some delays. So I'm gonna have to fly back to Cincinnati next week, take care of a couple doctor's appointments, and then I will return to the west, southwest out here, where the weather is nicer than in the east, northeast, and I will move at a planned slower pace. So there are some people that was not in my urgent traveling schedule that I will probably put in the schedule. So stay tuned. I'll be contacting some folks that had contacted me prior to the summer and try to get you folks in the schedule, plan for me to help you out and hang out in the Southwest, probably January, February, part of March. Make it back home hopefully in March, as my initial plan was last year. So that's where I'm at. That's my plans. That's my thought pattern. And let me get started on this work. Got to get it done sooner or later. Yesterday I decided to get this heater core out. It was dark. I was starting to get a little bit tired, so I stopped right there. Let me go ahead and pull the other side of that. Pull this heater core out and change this firewall junction and start making traction from there. I have the heater core back in place, and I got to leak check it, so I'm going to leave that open for now. I meant to leave the glove box open so I could test a couple of blend door motors, but forgot about that. So I got to test them some other way. Now, Gilbert wants these inner tie rod end boots fixed. So I need to take off the outer tie rods, get those boots off, and put the new boots on, and do that on both sides because both sides are torn. And I happen to have a new set of Lemforder boots here. TRW, Lemforder, I think are both good brands. So let's get these tie rod ends apart and get these boots off and replace these boots. Hope these tie rod ends are good. If not, I might have to replace those too. I broke this nut loose here. The tie rod end is sitting like this. Trying to get this alignment where it won't move. So I marked the inner tie rod in there. Now I'm going to turn it out of this outer tie rod end, count how many turns it takes me to get it out, and that's how many turns I'm going to use to put it back. So let's get started. I got it marked with a Sharpie. Got those boots replaced. Whoop, whoop. Next, replacing this coolant hose on this bottle. I should probably take the bottle off, lower it down there with it off, but we'll see. But I'm cleaning this rust, corrosion, coolant buildup off of this pipe here. So when I put the new hose on, it should go on nice and smooth. Drill, stainless steel wire brush. Get that brushed off. Get this bottle out of the way, I guess. I'm gonna take that loose and get this lowered on there. Oh yeah, I got a thermostat for that because that's a counterfeit thermostat. Well, folks, I can't think of another reason not to lower this engine in position. Ouch! I just dropped the tool on my foot. I'm going to do the brake lines up front, the rubber hoses, but those don't affect this engine going in. So I'm gonna drop this engine in position, get these mounts secure, front, back, front, and then probably take a lunch break. Not hungry enough for a lunch break right now, so let's get this engine in. I'm gonna go live, so let me prepare to do that. I'm gonna plug this thing in this time and put some earbuds in so we don't lose connection like we did last time. But it's not gonna show much other than dropping it in before I pause my live feed and go get lunch. So let me hook this up and you're ready to drop it in and go live. Almost forgot to go live. I've got everything set and installed under the car. I got a video I'll post of that in a day or two. I jacked the engine up, was getting ready to lower it down and said, man, I forgot to go live. So we should be able to watch me lower this engine in place. I got it up pretty high. I got the standing position. I think it's where it needs to be. So let me set this camera right here and hopefully you guys will be able to watch me lower this engine in here. I was planning on putting some earbuds in to make sure you can hear me, but I don't see the earbuds and I'm not going to drag this out looking for earbuds. So I got the leveler in. I can pivot this thing, and as I lower it, this is going to move around the depth of it, so hopefully I got it in a good position. If you're doing this alone, you just got to take your time. It's fun to do it with somebody else, but sometimes you just don't have help, so you got to do it alone. Right now, I'm about to bump into the fuse box panel, and it don't look like I'm over toward the driver's side enough. So let's move this thing over. Because I don't want to damage anything, of course. There's a line in the garage floor, so I had to use this as a leverage to move it up over there. I'm touching the bumper, but I don't think it's in a way that's going to make any marks on the bumper. Moved it over a little more. Let's lower it a little more. Man, that thing tries to go down quick. I'm trying to go real slow because I ain't trying to break nothing. Right now I'm leaning on the brake reservoir and about to hit the firewall. I got to come back this way a little bit. So, alright, backed it over a little bit. That should help me get it down. I'm barely going to clear this radiator. That's what you need to do. Make sure you don't scuff up the radiator. I'm missing the alarm horn connection because this car didn't have an alarm. And I'm using my hand to guide the transmission down a little bit. And And in a minute, I'm gonna have to go check the front. Going down nice and slow. Stop, make sure you're not hung up on nothing that you don't want to break. Like I'm really close to my throttle cable here. Come over here and I'm touching my fuel line, and I'm definitely too far this way. So this stuff needs to go that way as I come down, and I'm looking over my mount hole. I'm about 5 or 6 inches this way. So I'm gonna come down a little bit, then I'm gonna try to shift it over. A couple more inches here. This thing basically rubs both sides as it goes down. I might need to tilt it so that this transmission goes down first. From what I recall, I leveled it out. Whoops. Let me try to get this thing where this side is down. It goes in better. I'm not on anything as of right now, so let me make sure I'm not causing any damage with the leveler here. Everything looks good. I'm watching the ABS module sensor stuff as I go down. And let me move this leveler a little more here. I normally spray this thing with some lubrication. I think I forgot to do that. Lubricate my leveler a little bit. There it goes, going a little smoother now. It hit the lubrication at WD-40. At 10W40, whatever it is, WD-40. Alright, so I was leaning on the insulation over here a little bit, but I think I'm clear. I'm probably able to go down a little more. Something's creaking, don't sound good. But I'm not under it. If this thing falls down, it just falls. I'm not under the engine. I don't mind equipment getting damaged to save my I think I was on the heat shield just barely with that back engine mount. Now I'm under it. So I'm going to try to lower the engine and stuff down a little bit more. I'm in a good place, I think, where I can go down and clear everything that I'm trying to clear. I'm going to lower it about an inch. Do. Make sure I'm not hung up on nothing on the back. All right. And I'm getting ready to clear this ABS module. That's my next goal. And going down a little bit. Now I'm going to go make sure I'm not on this ECU box with the crank. Nope, the crank is still about 2 inches above the ECU box. So I can get this down a little more in here. I'm going past the ABS module right now. And I'm getting ready to go past the firewall junction. I hear the exhaust trying to grab the heat shield back there. Ugh. Yep. The exhaust is poking on the firewall heat shield a little bit. Now I got to make sure it tucks under and doesn't land on this power steering pump here and the AC compressor. Right along the side of the ABS module. Let me go down about another inch and then go check the front. All right, I think I'm touching the ECU box up here. Yep. And this exhaust manifold is trying to dig into this heat shield. So I'm going to look for a piece of plastic or something to buffer that, or a piece of cardboard. Actually, I'm going to use the top of the ECU box. Nope, that's a little bit too big, bigger than I want on there. Let me find a piece of cardboard or a piece of plastic. Found a piece of metal that I had from before. I'm going to slide it right in here on this heat shield to protect this heat shield from this exhaust manifold bolts. And it looks like I'm barely going to touch this firewall up here. I'm a little closer than I want to be with this power steering stuff. So I'm actually going to pick the power steering stuff up and try to get it out of the way here. Ugh. Ugh. All right. Power steering stuff is above the engine now. The AC compressor is down there. But hopefully I'll slide around that. I'm still a little bit too far this way and about an inch too far that way, but just got to take it slow. Get it in there. Get those mounts to drop on those sockets. I'm clear of the firewall junction, so I'm not worried about damaging that anymore. All right, let's see what's going on now. Clear of everything on this side, ABS module, stuff like that. Let me go check the front. I'm about to go down into the frame and getting close to this AC compressor. So I need to level this engine back out a little bit, and that end is low enough so I can level this back out. So let me do that. think I'm able to go down a little bit more here. I got the harmonic balancer off the frame, and I got about a 1/4 of an inch clearance on this transmission over here. And I need to go under this ABS module again because tilting it raised it up a little bit. So let me go down, hopefully about another inch I can get. Alright, my power steering stuff is still okay. Going almost low enough where I can move back that way. I'm about 7 inches from the mounts front and back, right and left of the engine. Making sure my transmission lines are clear. I need to make sure I'm not crushing this AC compressor. I'm about there right now. Up. I'm almost on the AC compressor. Need to figure out how to deal with that. I might have to come up a little bit to get this AC compressor out of here. Yeah, this AC compressor is in a little bit of a bad spot here. I got a wire harness kind of in the way of the AC compressor. Let me come up about an inch, see if that helps me out. Whew. Wire harness and this AC compressor is not mixing well. Well, I wonder if I go down some more, will that help me with this AC compressor? That's what I'm going to do. We'll go down a little more and see if that helps with the AC compressor. Everything in the back and sides looks okay. Alright, let me see if that helps. If I can twist this AC compressor in the right position, or push this engine back far enough to get this AC compressor and this engine to cooperate. No, I got this wire harness still attached to the subframe. I need to pop that loose. Need a light, really. See what I'm doing here. All right. Get that wire harness loose. See if that helps. Oh yeah, that's what I needed. That's what I needed. Oh yeah. All right, I got the AC compressor in the right position for this engine to go down. The crank is touching the firewall. The fuel line is out of the way. The exhaust is down. Look like I could go down another inch or so to line up my mounts. I'm about 4 inches from my landing on my mounts, maybe 3. All right, I need to level this out some more because it's nose high right now. And the engine mounts are about to touch the frame where they land in place. But the transmission is so low. Actually, this front mount is already touching. And it's about 1 inch off. So I'm going to come up about 1 inch so I can check that back one and level this out. Come up 1 pump. Feel like the car came up. Woo! Then I'm going to check this front mount, see if it's falling in place. Front mount's about 2 inches up. Front mount's about to drop down in its track here. This mount's real close. I can't really see where that rear mount is on the steering rack. My AC compressor is still pretty loose. Let me see if I can check this mount on this AC compressor. Check this mount on the steering rack. Definitely need a light for that. Mount's about 2 inches, 2 inches off. I'm gonna try to balance it out a little bit more, but it's really kind of balanced where it needs to be. All right, I'm gonna leave that there. This front mount is almost where it needs to be. I think it's just up a little too high. So I'm gonna pull this stuff this way and lower it. This front mount on this side is in position. So let me lower this about 1 inch and I should have all my mounts in place. The back is dropping, but the front's not. So let me check on this front mount. I might need to wedge this a little bit. Pry bar this. Yeah, it's not falling in place. There it is. Just a little bump. It fell down in place. That front mount's in position. This side mount is in position. Let me check this rear mount back here. This rear mount appears to be in position. I can't see it 100% because the car is so low. But I think my AC compressor is still loose. My steering rack's loose. My exhaust is in a fine place. I think I'm in good shape. Let me see if I can see it from this side. If I can, I'll probably be done with this cherry picker. Can't see it, it's too far. I need a bright light. I think I'm good to go. Okay, this front mount is on, this side mount is in position, and that back mount is about 1 inch high off of the mount, but it looks like it's aligned perfect. So I think if I lower this down the rest of the way, I'll be good to go. Let me find my bar here. Lower this down the rest of the way, I should be good. So the back will tilt down just a little bit, and I'll be done. That's exactly what happened. That side of the engine fell down a little bit. I think I'm done with this picker. I got the engine resting on all 3 primary mounting points. Those 2 hydraulic mounts and that engine mount up front. Woohoo! Get this cherry picker out of the way and go take me a lunch break. Yeah, buddy. All right, I'll come back in an hour and finish putting all this stuff together on this engine. And I'll come back and I'll go live to do that. Maybe put the camera a little closer where you guys can see a little bit more of what's going on. But I did want to let you guys see me lower that thing in, see how long it takes to do it by yourself, and keep moving. Thanks for watching. Do 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 do. See that engine mount in position there? That engine mount there, pretty much in position. All right, I lost Wi-Fi connection. Somebody asked what's for lunch. I'm probably going to go get a Subway chicken teriyaki deal. When I come back, we'll remove that leveler, put a couple things in place on the engine up here, and then raise the car back up so I could get under it and secure mounts and stuff like that. So let me go grab something for lunch. Thanks for watching. Seal replacement on this S70. I put the cherry picker over there out of the way. I'm getting ready to get this leveler out of the way, and then I'm going to start hooking everything up. The vehicle is sitting here kind of low, and the engine transmission is sitting in here on top of the mounts, nothing bolted in. So I need to get to work bolting all this stuff in. I'm going to start with the AC compressor. Then I'm going to put in the power steering pump system, the wire harness down there, hook up most of this wire harness stuff, plug in these coolant lines, hook up the transmission line, shifter assembly, hook up the, what are those things called? Oxygen sensors, ground wires, mounts, hydraulic lines, fans. Yeah, I probably got about 3 hours worth of work to do, so I'm going to get started. And you guys could watch along until the battery dies on this thing. I wish I could have it set closer, maybe somewhere like right here, but I'm going to have it set here out of the way. And you guys got any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'll answer them later as I check the, what do you call those things? Comments later. Here, removing the engine hoist leveler. I had to get a few tools and get that leveler disconnected from the lift points and stored away so that thing's out of the way. Next, I moved that power steering pump, and I gotta get this AC compressor mounted. It's got a funny bracket on the driver's side of the compressor that you gotta get in position so that you can mount it to the engine. So I got that thing in position, put those 14mm bolts in there, 2 on the driver's side. Then I had to go on the passenger side in the wheel well and put the 2 in that way. So had to find a tool or something, get that lined up and installed. Next, I'm installing that power steering pump. I got a few bolts on one side, a few bolts on the other side. Got to get that thing in position, get all the bolts started before you tighten that thing down. Had to go find something that I misplaced. Make sure I get all the brackets and stuff installed on. Spend a lot of time finding stuff when you're not organized. Looking for the new hose for that coolant reservoir bottle. Get the clamps off of that. Clean up the clamps a little bit. That was the thermostat housing top that I was cleaning off old coolant residue from. Now I'm putting 10 millimeters in that. Gilbert come to check on me, make sure I'm working. Putting the last few pieces of hardware in that power steering pump bracket. Hooking up the wire harness, different connectors to the alternator, making sure the wire harness is secure down there on the subframe. Installing the lower radiator hose, trying to make sure that the wire harness on this driver's side is in the proper position so I can get this lower radiator hose installed and routed properly. Hooking up the O2 sensors and the bracket for those, plugging in the cam sensors, the crank sensor, making sure all that stuff is stored properly. The wire harness gone across for the fuel injectors. Put the clamp on it, make sure that that throttle cable is routed properly and hooked up. Got the hose in position. Securing the hose to the pipe on the back of the engine, that crossover pipe. I lost a socket down there and had to figure out where that socket went. Ended up being all the way over by the battery tray. Not sure how that happened. hooking up the transmission cooler lines to the radiator. I brought it over to show you guys how I normally squeeze it together and expand it with the tool. Now I'm looking for the seal for the lower one. I had gotten a seal out of the salvage yard. Now I'm trying to find that thing. Getting ready to change that upper mount. Took that bushing out. I got the new bushing. I'm going to press it in with my bushing press. Already replaced the firewall mount. After I get this bushing in position, I had to get that bracket, put it on. That's where we're at. Airbox, fan, then raise it up, put the axles back in, and secure the struts and stuff. Probably about, I don't know, 2 hours. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.